Dickens? How has Dickens impacted culture today? A la Shmoop.
One of the reasons that Dickens has had such longevity is that his novels are so adaptable to just about every form of media that we have in the 20th and 21st centuries. So Oliver as a stage adaptation to Oliver Twist. There are so many movie versions of things like The Christmas Carol and David Copperfield and you name it. That's endless. The BBC has certainly taken care of that. Television, mini dramas and things, adaptations have been made. Certainly things like Oliver can be reenacted by students. And I know lots of teachers who have turned even just scenes from Dickens novels into mini reenactments in classrooms. And again, it's important to remember, the reason that's so easy to do is because these novels came out in pieces. So if you're reading 2 chapters at a time, those sets of pages, 60 some odd pages, are very encapsulated. They can often stand alone as almost like a mini story within the greater novel. So this is one of the reasons why it's so easy to make episodes out of the novel. So that has absolutely been endless. And then I think my favorite adaptation, which might be everyone's favorite adaptation, is The Muppets Christmas Carol. I think The Christmas Carol is probably the best example of this kind of adaptation, not just because that was a novella, that it was shorter and therefore easier to turn into a movie, but also because that had such an enormous cultural impact. It is impossible, I think, for at least Americans to even imagine what Christmas would look like or should look like if that novel had not been written. So much of what we do in terms of our traditions goes back to the Victorian period and often specifically goes back to Dickens' depiction in that novella. So the reason we take so well to that is because we've just sort of gobbled up Dickens' hook, line, and sinker, and we don't even realize it. And so when we think of fur-lined coats and we think of wreaths and all that stuff, that is Dickensian. Much of it, that is Victorian.
How have Dickens' works been adapted in different media? What holiday did Dickens heavily influence? I heard Kermit the Frog had to audition 4 times.